It's no wonder that this is the Foundation's favorite day, because it is truly humbling to see so many people in one room that love and care and invest in Montgomery College students. And I want to recognize the huge investment that our host of the Montgomery College Foundation Board of Directors makes in our student success. So I'm going to embarrass our MCF board, but I need you all to stand and say standing while I just share a couple of milestones that happened on your behalf. Don't be shy. Come on. Come on, Mary Pat, Linda, and all you board members. I know there's more. I want you to stand up, and I want you to stay standing. It's only going to take a second. Okay, Alex, there you go. Okay, so let me tell you, because of this board's leadership, in FY17, the foundation was able to give out 1,800 scholarships totaling over $2.1 million. Wait, there's more. $27,000 in emergency assistance funds and $30,000 in book vouchers. Thank you for standing up, Michael. And this year, under your leadership, the foundation surpassed the $20 million mark in our $30 million MC 2020 campaign. And lastly, because of the hard work of this board of directors, the administration of the college moved to our beautiful building at 9221 Corporate Boulevard. And if you haven't seen this, or if you consider this your personal invitation to come and see this, through bond financing, the foundation purchased the building, which will ultimately save the college $40 million over 30 years. Thank you, Montgomery College Foundation Board of Directors. You can sit down now. And before I sit down, I want to give a quick piece of advice for all the MC scholarship recipients in the room. Please take advantage of this opportunity. You can network. There is no more educated people in this room than I've ever met. These are your tribe of mentors, which is my favorite new book. Ask them questions, soak in their brain power, make connections, and of course, and most importantly, express your gratitude. To many of the donors and the foundation board members as you can. And if you're, maybe thinking about, well, what would I ask? You could start with this one. If you could give me one piece of advice as I enter the workforce, what would it be? Just start with that. The program will begin after lunch, but for those of you who love social media like me and Dr. P, post to your heart's content using hashtag MCScholarship2018. We always have a lot of fun when we're with Dr. Pollard. And speaking of Dr. Pollard, I have exciting news to share. As everyone knows, great organizations require exceptional leadership. And I believe we have that in Dr. Pollard. But don't just take my word for it, although I wholeheartedly agree, Dr. P. Take the prestigious Carnegie Corporation's award, who selected her as just one of 7 college presidents, she being the only community college president to be selected for this year's Academic Leadership Award. To give you a little context, wait, you're not going to believe this. To give you a little, or you probably will believe it, but to give you a little context, a few of the other talented academic leaders who were honored include the presidents of Georgetown, Case Western, Harvey Mudd, and Georgia State, and I think that's pretty good company. In addition to the incredible prestige this brings to our college, this award came with an impressive prize, $500,000 to be used to support programs of the President's Choice. And I'm thrilled to announce that Dr. P chose a premier program in which she was basically the creator of, along with other partners. And you'll be learning about that today. But she gave the entire $500,000 to the foundation in order to support our ACES students. So, and I also just want to tell you a little bit about this award, because you know we've all had, you know, well, a lot of us have gotten awards, and it's not one of those awards where you apply for it or you maybe put an ad in a magazine. This award is given out only every 2 years when the Carnegie Corporation looks around the entire American Academy, all 4,000 universities and colleges, for the best of the best. And they picked her. So I think we need to stand up and congratulate our president of Montgomery College, Carnegie Corporation winner, 2017, Dr. P. Don't kill me. Okay, but wait, there's more. Okay. Washington Monthly, a nonprofit publication which is known for its annual rankings of American colleges and universities. And typically, you know, they're kind of a fancy think tank, but in DC. But they are considered the alternative to the Forbes and the U.S. News World Report's rankings, where, you know, some of us see our alma maters. But Washington Monthly ranked MC number 9 in the nation for adult learners in the 2-year college category. But what makes this ranking unique is the criteria that they use, which is, what do taxpayers get in return for the billions of dollars that they spend on student aid? So think about that. What that means is for every dollar that the federal government spends on MC students, MC is producing more transfer students, more graduates, and graduates that make more money as compared to the students of the 1,300 other 2-year colleges across the country. And well, like many of you, I'm an investor. And this Washington Monthly ranking, along with the recognition of our president from the Carnegie Corporation and the students that I meet every day, make me feel incredibly good about my investment in Montgomery College. So today I just want to take a couple minutes, bear with me, because I need to thank those in the room who've collectively invested millions of dollars in our students. Donors like Camille and Cliff Kendall, and so I'm sorry Cliff couldn't be here today with Camille. Thank you for making it possible for hundreds of students to complete their education. The Kendalls also support many of our veteran students, some of who are sitting with them today, and we want to thank you for your service. And where is Janet Crampton? Janet is a longtime friend and selfless advocate empowering women and girls to succeed in education. Thank you, Janet, for the transformational gift you gave to Montgomery College this year in your estate plans. And Marcia Meltzer, I know she's near too. She is here with a few of her ACES students. Thank you, Marcia, for your stalwart support. And the Treader family, who have been longtime supporters of the arts at Montgomery College, thank you. And it's my honor to recognize Don. Don is the president of the Gordon and Marilyn Macklin Foundation and the nephew of the late Gordon Macklin, who founded NASDAQ. So I don't think anyone would question whether the Macklins knew a good investment. And it speaks volumes that they chose to establish this award-winning Macklin Business Institute at MC. Thank you, Don, for your support. I want to thank the A. James and Alice B. Clark Charitable Foundation, who support our diverse and talented and hardworking students who will later become the engineers we need in the 21st century. Longtime supporters of the college, the J. Willard and Alice S. Marriott Foundation, represented here today by their amazing director, Ann Gunsteins, who also serves on our foundation board. Thank you, Marriott Foundation. And Debbie and Cliff White, wow, so much to thank you for. Your early investment in ACES was crucial to its success. And later in the program, we're going to learn more about the White's philanthropic model. But let me just tell you now, it's a game changer. It's a game changer that addresses the holistic needs of our students. I want to warmly also welcome Mary Pat and Darren Alkis and the Herson family. Both families have adopted the Cliff and White Debbie philanthropic model, and Dr. Pollard will personally thank these families in her remarks regarding the huge difference that they are making for our Dreamers students. Westat, who's represented today by Allison Henderson. I saw Allison. Thank you for ensuring that our ACES students have the resources they need to complete their education. And I think everybody knows Ike Leggett. At least you've heard of Ike, right? But I don't know, did you know that he personally gives a huge amount of his treasure to make sure that our students have the scholarships they need? Thank you, Ike Leggett. And Erica Weber and her husband, David Deep. And Erica not only serves on the foundation's board, but the Weber Family Foundation is the primary funder of the Global Humanities Institute, which provides vital preparation for students to compete in today's global economy. And whereas Katherine Scott, our former faculty member and my dear friend, she also serves on our board and gives so generously that a building on our Tacoma Park campus where she worked for 4 decades was named in her honor. And Katherine, I'd like to wish you another happy 100th birthday, Katherine Scott. We celebrated you in the fall, but I can't not take this moment to say happy birthday again to our treasure, Katherine Scott. We'd like to give a shout out to Peter Bolcavage. I didn't see you, Peter, of Book Construction and Lexus of Rockville. The Book Construction team has transformed our Foundation Golf Classic into one of the hottest golf tournaments in town, which raises hundreds of thousands of dollars for unrestricted scholarships. It will be millions in a couple of years. But mark your calendar for October 22nd, and as Katie told me to tell you, book early. We sold out last year. We'd like to recognize the Greenleaf family, who is represented here today by Lauren Grunley. Thank you for making a substantial investment in our ACES students. And I'd like to thank Connie McGuire, who is sitting with our board member, Linda Youngentob. These powerful women are not only educating our students as adjunct professors, but along with their husbands, John McGuire and Bob Youngentob, they financially support our student body in very innovative ways, looking at the holistic needs like food insecurity and emergency assistance. Thank you, Linda and Connie. We value our partnership with the Greater Washington Community Foundation and its team in Montgomery County, and they're represented here today by Tom Murphy and their wonderful Executive Director, Anna Hargrave. Anna and Tom, thanks for coming. And a group of volunteers established the Davidson Scholarship Fund to honor the example of public service set by David Davidson and his wife, Dorothy Mulitz Davidson. Thank you, David, for being here today. I haven't seen Crystal Carr-Townsend, but I know you're there, the president of the Healthcare Initiatives Foundation. HIF supports our health sciences students through a pathway to enter the Montgomery County health workforce, which is going to be desperately needed as we look at the statistics in the next 20 years. I'd be remiss not to acknowledge the Gaithersburg Germantown Chamber. They are our most generous organizational donor and have given $250,000 in scholarship report. I'm almost at the end of the list. We have such an outpouring of love from the many volunteer clubs and social justice organizations who are represented here today. I wish I could name you all. You're all very dear to the foundation, but they are listed on the screen here, and we deeply appreciate your support. There are many faculty and staff in the room, and I want to thank you. We have huge, huge support from our faculty and staff, and I'd also like to recognize the trustees of the college who are with us today. Thank you for coming and supporting our Foundation Scholarship Luncheon. As the executive director of the foundation, it is my role to make sure that we continue to provide as many students as possible the opportunity of an education. These students are the future workforce of this county needs, and I'm convinced, and I've lived in a couple places, that this county is simply the most special place in the United States. And I know this because the people in this room provide me that proof. So thank you for being so exceptional, everyone, all donors in the room. Thank you for helping our students. And now I have the great honor and pleasure to introduce the chair of the Montgomery College Foundation Board, Ken Becker. Ken is here with his wife Arlene, his daughter Allison, and his son-in-law Justin. who nearly every year, just like this year, have 2 tables full of scholarship recipients. The Becker family has quite a legacy with MC. Not only is Ken's family one of the largest scholarship donors to the foundation, Ken's father, Arthur, served on the foundation board for years. I could tell you a lot of stories about the legacy of the Beckers, but I'm going to tell you my favorite one. Ken's dad, Arthur, and his partners negotiated the land where the Rockville campus stands today. Now, if that's not a legacy, I don't know what is. Help me welcome my friend and the hardest working board chair I've ever known, Ken Becker.
Good afternoon to everybody. And Carol, thank you so much for those very kind and generous words. You bring a tear to my eye. I'm honored to serve as chair of the Montgomery College Foundation's Board of Directors, and on behalf of our board, I welcome each of you to this terrific occasion. And I extend a special thank you to Carol Ronrud and our development staff for organizing today's celebration and doing the hard work of the foundation year-round. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I also want to recognize the generosity and hard work of my fellow board members. These are my fellow volunteers, professionals in real estate, finance, accounting, law, education, cyber technologies, among other areas, and all making essential contributions of time and talent, helping us to achieve the funding of over 1,800 scholarships this past year. The mission of this foundation is to support, influence, and advocate on behalf of Montgomery College. That covers a lot of ground, but put more simply, it is our job to help as many students as possible access the required resources to meet their educational aspirations. We believe in the limitless potential of Montgomery College students, like those of you who are here with us today. We celebrate and recognize our donors, but it is our students who truly demonstrate the value of what we do. And while I'm on the subject of our students, allow me a brief moment to say how proud I am of all students nationwide who have awakened politically by recent events and are speaking out forcefully You are making a difference. I'm now pleased to announce our Board of Directors challenge for today. 2 years ago, our board stepped up, raising challenge funds to further leverage all donor contributions in connection with our annual scholarship luncheon. These challenge funds, with the generous donations that followed, have raised in excess of $200,000 in scholarship assistance these past 2 years. But we can do better. Now, for the 3rd year of this tradition, I am pleased again to congratulate our dedicated board members on achieving a 100% participation in this effort and reaching new levels of support. This means that for every dollar donated as part of this event, it will be matched up to our total board challenge, which now stands at $66,100. So match it and then some. To our donors today, your gift will go twice as far in meeting our ever-growing need for scholarship assistance. But this only works when our donors, including those individuals and organizations here today, rise to generously accept this challenge. Remember, the impact of this generosity is immediate, but lasts a lifetime. It is now my pleasure to introduce our newest board member and today's speaker, Mary Pat Alkis. Although she's only been on our board for a short time, she has quickly stepped up to put her knowledge and years of experience to work as a member of our Treasurers Committee. Mary Pat is an institutional investment advisor, chartered financial analyst, and over her 25-year investment career, she has advised numerous foundations, endowments, and corporate and public pension funds. In addition to her many professional accomplishments, Mary Pat is also very well known for her unwavering commitment to the betterment of the community, which is evident through her numerous volunteer leadership roles, including Horizons of Greater Washington and the Community Foundation of Montgomery County. Please welcome my fellow board member and our speaker today, Mary Pat Alkis.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Ken, for that kind introduction. I'm delighted to join Ken and the other members of the Foundation's Board of Directors to help ensure that the college's mission is fulfilled. I'm also delighted to represent the hundreds of donors, many of whom are here today, who provide life-changing scholarships for the students of Montgomery College. In just a few minutes, you will see a video featuring students from the ACES program. For those of you not familiar with ACES, it's a program that begins working with students who are often most underrepresented in college classrooms while they're still in area high schools. ACES coaches continue to work with their students as they attend Montgomery College to pursue their associate's degree, and then again while they attend the universities at Shady Grove, where they complete their bachelor's degree. In addition to providing scholarships and books, ACES also gives participants the support services and mentorship they need in order to be successful. One of the students featured, Jorge Torres, is a recipient of the scholarship that my husband Darren and I established. And just as many of you today are enjoying the lunch because it provides you with an opportunity to get to know your scholarship recipient, a few weeks ago I had the pleasure of meeting Jorge over lunch. During our lunch, Jorge and I talked about our families. I learned that he's the oldest of 3 children with a large, close-knit, extended family in the area. Like many of the students in the ACES program, Jorge is the first in his family to go to college. I also learned that he juggles a very demanding academic load while working multiple jobs to achieve his goal of becoming a pediatric dentist. Jorge wanted to know about my family, and I found myself talking to him about my grandparents, all 4 of whom immigrated from Ireland to escape famine. Like many new immigrants to this country, my grandparents had no money, little education, and they took the jobs that they could find. They worked very hard to fulfill the American dream, which they did. Both of my parents went to college, and like Jorge and so many of the students here, my parents did so by working multiple jobs and living at home. Because of my parents' hard work and determination, I knew from an early age that I would go to college. Like my grandparents, Jorge's parents came to the U.S. with little education and took the jobs that they could find in order to support themselves and their family. And just as my parents did, Jorge bravely stepped into the unknown and began his own academic journey, leading the way for his sisters to follow. His sister Daniela, who's also a member of the ACES program, will graduate in just a few months from Clarksburg High School, and she will attend Montgomery College in the fall. I was impressed not only by Jorge's journey to MC, but also by his outlook. Throughout our conversation, Jorge continued to reference one thing in particular, his good fortune. He was fortunate, he said, to work in the guidance counselor's office at Clarksburg High School, which is where the ACES coach's office was. He was fortunate to be accepted into the ACES program, where he was encouraged to work hard by his ACES coach, Miss Thomas, and where he received guidance and help that he needed to understand the daunting college application process. He was fortunate, while still in high school, to be working alongside his father at the home of a woman who suggested that Jorge would be better off working in her law office than doing manual labor. Jorge soon began working weekends and during breaks from high school and now college at her law office in Silver Spring. This is just one of the 3 jobs that he juggles while going to school full-time. Jorge continues to recognize his good fortune to attend Montgomery College and to learn from his ACES coach, Miss Lands, who not only helps guide him as he chooses courses for his major, but also encourages him to attend workshops where they discuss things such as time management, study skills, and what to wear for an interview. He was also fortunate to shadow an MC alum, Dr. Usa Banag, who runs a very busy dental practice in Bethesda and Silver Spring. She initially brought Jorge on as an intern, but she recognized his ambition and work ethic, and she hired him to work in her office. That's job number 2. Because textbooks, especially science textbooks, are so expensive, Jorge spends what little free time he has studying in the student lab, where they too recognized his abilities and work ethic, and they hired him as a tutor, making that job number 3. In short, Jorge considers himself fortunate to work 3 jobs while balancing a very heavy academic load that includes organic chemistry, calculus, biology, and sociology. And he does all of this happily. Jorge feels lucky, but perhaps not as fortunate as Darren and I feel to be able to provide someone with such promise, such motivation, such drive, and such appreciation with the opportunity to pursue his dream. We have no doubt that Jorge will achieve his goals, and we are happy that we will have played a part in helping him realize his full promise and potential. When our kids were born, Darren and I established 529 savings accounts on their behalf, so that when it came time for them to attend college, their college educations were mostly paid for. This left us in the very fortunate position to be able to help someone else's child pursue his or her education. For us, that person is Jorge Torres. And as the first of our 2 children graduates from college this June, Darren and I will join with hundreds of other parents on graduation day to celebrate her accomplishments. We will also be in attendance at Jorge's graduation this May at MC, where we will celebrate the first in his rigorous academic journey. And 2 years from now, we plan to be cheering him on as he receives his bachelor's degree in biological sciences from the University of Maryland at USG. The ACES Pathway Scholarship that Darren and I established will ensure that Jorge has the support he needs to complete both degrees, allowing him to focus on his limitless future. To those of you who have already established scholarships, I thank you. And to those who are considering establishing a scholarship or increasing your support, I strongly encourage you to consider the ACES Pathway Scholarship model, which follows one student all the way from MC through USG. Following my lunch with Jorge, I find myself continuing to think of our conversation, and I want to thank him for reminding me of my good fortune. Specifically, I want to thank him for providing me with a better understanding of what it took for my grandparents to build a new life in this country, and to instill in future generations the work ethic it takes to succeed. I am, just as many of you are, the very fortunate beneficiary of their determination and bravery. And now I invite you to sit back and meet Jorge and 2 other extraordinary ACES program participants. Enjoy the video and see for yourself, as I have, the extraordinary impact ACES is having on its students. Thank you.
I wasn't too sure how to apply to school or what to do, and the ACES program, they really pushed me, and because of their help, you know, I was able to apply to college and I knew what to do.
You know, I started realizing the prices of college when I was a junior. $40,000, $20,000, what is this, you know? And then it was like, okay, maybe you might not be able to go to college after all.
Well, I joined ACES in my sophomore year, and it seemed really irrelevant to me because ACES was about college. And like in my sophomore years, that seemed really light years away, but I just sort of stuck to it.
So I'm taking chemistries right now so that I can get my bachelor's in biological sciences. And then once I have that, then I plan on applying to dental school.
I plan to go to medical school. So after medical school, of course, residency, and then work as a physician here.
When we look at the students that ACES serves, ACES chooses the students that has the most barriers to gaining access and completing higher education. The other thing that's unique about our program is that we serve our students from high school through college completion. the baccalaureate degree. And that was one of the things that drew me to the program, because many times you have access programs who help students gain access to higher education, but they don't help them stay and complete their degrees. There are no GPA requirements for our students.
You don't have to know what you want, but you can tell me what you don't want. Or you don't want to be poor. Okay, we can work with that. Okay. You don't want to be perceived as dumb. Okay, we can work with that. Right? So you don't want to follow the pattern of your family. Okay, we can work with that. If you tell me that you would like to be an astronaut, my expectation is that you become an astronaut.
My parents, they're immigrants. They don't really know how any of the school systems or the college, process works. So they couldn't really, they're not in a position to help me, to educate me. So having a program like this is really beneficial to someone who's completely in the dark. As of right now, I'm the current president of the student government. I'm also the president of the Foreign Language Honor Society at my school. During my college application process, I only applied to MC because I knew I'm 100% confident that the quality of education that I'm getting at Montgomery College is the same as a four-year university.
What's so good about ACES is the access to a consistent, authentic, caring adult. So the fact that the program follows students from high school to Montgomery College to University at Shady Grove, always knowing that there's someone there who's going to be there to support them and that they don't ever have to question whether or not they're going to have people in their corner. That is what makes the program so successful.
So how I see it is I feel that they believe in me and that I can do, I can be excellent.
I wanted to be able to give these kids an opportunity, because I think there's so many kids in school, in high school, that don't fully understand college, and it's just because their families haven't had the college experience. It does help to level the playing field. I see it more as it gives them the kind of opportunities that my kids have always had, that your kids have had.
Through the CEO program at USG, they gave me a job shadowing opportunity with Dr. Bunag. And then being through there, I was completely sure I wanted to go into dental school. I really loved everything. I really liked the hands-on movement. I'm interacting with people and helping people. So that just made everything clear that I really want to go into dentistry.
Because the ACES program was able to help me, I was able to help 160 children. I was able to help people here, and I will be able to help so many more people when I work as a doctor. But if I hadn't had that chance, who would have known what I would have been today? Probably not here.
Lots of people who work as hard as I do, but they didn't end up with the opportunities or being in the right place at the right time. And as a result, I've definitely felt the need over the last 10 plus years to figure out how to give back, how to pass it on.
I mean, Cliff White, he wants to learn, he wants to know us. He invites us to different places that we've never even thought we would ever go to. He treats us like we matter, like we're important people almost. How can you see someone like that and not be inspired? How can you see what he does and not want to do the same thing when you grow up and you have that opportunity?
And I'm just very thankful and appreciative of everyone, and especially Mary, Pat, and Darren Alkis, just because without this opportunity, I right now would be trying to figure out how to pay for school or how to pay for books, and they really helped me just focus in school. When my ACES counselor, Miss Lance, called me, she called me a couple of days before Christmas, and I was eating breakfast with my uncle. And she called me, she told me, oh, you got the scholarship. And then she says, she was like, relax, now you can breathe and focus on enjoying your time in winter break. And then it's funny because I told her, it just makes me want to study right now. Instead of, because I was in winter break, but now I just want to study even harder.
These students come here for a better life. They come here with dreams. And most of the time, those dreams are not selfish dreams. The dreams where they want to give back and help the community. I went to Montgomery Black High School, and there are just so many students. I felt like I was in the shadows because, I was quiet because I didn't speak English very well. So it was kind of hard for me to approach the people to get help. And sometimes when I approached them, they didn't know how to help me. And then my dad found out about the ACES program, and then he told me to apply. You know, the ACES program has helped me be this educated, strong, confident woman that, you know, I didn't even dream of becoming. The help that I got, it's just like makes me think, wow, you know, there are people in the world who are just special.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Darren Pollard, and I'm the proud president of Montgomery College. And I have to tell you, I was so deeply moved by that video for a number of reasons that I'll share with you momentarily. But I don't know if you all need a little minute, because I needed a minute after seeing that. So I'll let you have your minute. If we could ask our two students to join me on stage. Jorge and Monia, would you please come? They represent the future of our county and certainly of our country. And I couldn't be more proud or excited for them, because they are indeed why so many of us who do this work choose to do it. Regretfully, our high school student, Nan, couldn't be here. He's a senior at Watkins Mills, and he's in class. And we want him to be in class because he couldn't be here today. But if you heard him say, we'll be seeing him this fall at Montgomery College. Now, as Monia spoke so movingly about the lasting impact of the scholarship that she receives from Debbie and Cliff White, what she didn't say is that she is just one of 20 ACES students who received their scholarship and full support from high school to Montgomery College through to the University of Shady Grove to pursue and complete their baccalaureate degree. Getting to know each of their students and watching them soar is the reason that Cliff and Debbie have established yet another scholarship. This is one that is especially exciting because there's a challenge, the ACES Pathways Champions Scholarship Challenge. Just as Cliff and Debbie have already done with their own 20 students, their challenge is designed to follow one ACES student while he or she is a student at MCPS, to Montgomery College, and then on to the University of Shady Grove to complete their baccalaureate degree. And I'm so very happy to share with you that that challenge that they have put forth has already had significant impact in our community thus far. You heard that Jorge mentioned in his video that he is the recipient of the Mary, Pat, and Darren Alkis Pathway Scholarship. The Alkises were the first family to accept Cliff and Debbie's challenge, and I'm thrilled to share that we have others who have joined them on this journey. Quickly after Mary, Pat, and Darren signed on, Lynn Herson grad contacted Carol, wondering how the foundation was supporting dreamers in our community. In recognition of their family, much as Mary Pat shared in her story, recognizing the immigrant story that is so familiar to so many of us, they wanted to do something for our students. So when they heard that they had supported a dreamer student, Cliff and Debbie would also support a dreamer student through completion of their bachelor's degree at USG. It was a no-brainer for them. The Herson family, by doing so, continues their longtime family association with equity and inclusivity and the power of education for members of our community. Thank you, Sonia, Lynn, and also let me welcome their granddaughter, Lindsay, who is here with them today. Where are you all at? Wonderful. Thank you all so much for being here. I'll go ahead and let you all sit down, but thank you so much for coming on stage. Not only did Nikki Mock and Phil Leibowitz establish their own Pathway Scholarship, but Nikki also produced the incredible video that we just saw a moment ago, of which the 2 stars just went and sat back down. Thank you so much for that. Now, Nikki had planned to be here today, but she had a very good reason why she was not. They had the opportunity to welcome earlier this week their first grandchild. Yeah, so all the grandparents in the room completely understand that instant love that happens when that new person comes into your life. A highly regarded producer, Nikki donated her time and incredible talent, all while mentoring our MCTV team as well, and the result was the video that you saw a moment ago that reflects the impact and the limitless potential of our ACES students. Thank you so much, Nikki, and to our students who were a part of that video. Others have taken on this incredible challenge, include Melinda and Bill Becker, Linda and James Derling, and Eagle Bank. Thank you all so much for supporting these students. And because of these folks, we are 5 steps closer to our goal of 20 for the Pathway Scholarships. And when this goal is reached, and to be very clear, Ms. Carroll understands that this goal will be reached, Debbie and Cliff will provide an additional 20 students with access to their scholarship. This will bring their total number of students up to 40. I think that deserves a round of applause. Debbie and Cliff, will you please stand so we can acknowledge you, please? Now, while I'm at it, could I also have my other ACES students in the room please stand? I know there are a number of you here today. Would you please stand? Woo! Keep on standing, keep standing, keep standing, keep standing, keep standing. Now, could the staff of our ACES program, our wonderful director, Karen Callender, and associate director, Damian Robinson, and the coaches who are here today, please stand as well. Yes. Yes. And while I'm at it, every student scholarship winner, stand up and join your colleagues stuff. Wow. Thank you all. You can be seated. I wish you could have seen you from up here. I'm serious, just absolutely beautiful. So let me step back for just a moment, because I know I'm between you and the rest of your day, and share with you why the ACES program is so personally connected to me and why it is so important. When I look at the ACES students, all I do is see myself in them. I see their stories, I've heard their stories, and I think about the fact that had I been at Whitney Young High School in Chicago, where I was a few years ago, I would have been a perfect candidate that Karen talked about earlier, students with unlimited potential but limited resources. I was a child growing up in poverty on the south side of Chicago, check. I was a student of color who would be the first in my family to earn a college degree, check. I was overcoming significant challenges in my family that many folks probably would not even understand, check. So when I look at these students, I recognize and I see myself in them. In fact, like Jorge, when I was in college, many times, actually, minimally, I worked 3 part-time jobs. I had food stamps to get by. Actually, I remember the day I got them, it was exciting, because I knew that I would not have to worry about food, and that was one thing I could take off my monthly budget in college. I delayed health treatments. Remember, I had a cavity, and I sat around forever thinking, how can I avoid that? Because I didn't have the money to go to the dentist to have that taken care of. I was vulnerable, I was at risk, and no one would have thought that I would be standing here today. So, just as Nong shared about his parents, my father, we always knew that I was going to college. None of us could figure out how, and none of us really had a plan, but we always knew that I was going to go to college. And I can remember applying to colleges and waiting to get those letters back. This is before you all did the orchestrated recordings where you sign in now on the computers. And we didn't have all that. You sat and waited for the letters, and if it was a thick envelope, you got excited. If it was a thin envelope, you didn't even open it, right? So I was waiting for a few thick envelopes to come because I had applied to college, but then my high school guidance counselor very wisely said, Darren, how are you gonna pay for it? And I thought, well, somebody's gonna help me pay for college. She said, well, let's fill out the FAFSA form. Anybody know what the FAFSA form is? Yeah. So I completed that FAFSA form, and back in the day, it was much longer than the version you all have now, but I filled out my FAFSA form, and I wrote it all in. And my father worked third shift at a logistics and freight company at that particular point. And as a family, we left things on the table at nighttime. So my father would get up at 10 p.m., he turned the coffee pot on, and I could hear and smell the coffee, knew Daddy was up, and anything you needed signed, you left it on the table, and Daddy signed it. Or if he had, if he had to see your papers, he always had to see how I was doing in class, you leave it on the table. That was always the process. Well, my FAFSA form sat on the kitchen table for probably 2 weeks. And I could not figure out, because so I got up one night, I heard him get up, and I said, Daddy, I got to fill this FAFSA form, I got to turn it in. And he said, and those of you who know my father, he's very quiet, very humble, but he got loud. He said, I'm not signing that. And I was kind of paused. I said, well, what do you mean you're not going to sign my FAFSA form? He said, you don't need all that. I'm done. So I got back in bed dejected. I probably cried myself to sleep that night. Went in to see that counselor who told me about the FAFSA form. I said, well, I guess I'm not going to college. And she paused and she said, what do you mean? I said, my daddy didn't fill out the form, so I'm going to go ahead and go with that secondary route. I'm going to go to cosmetology school. That was my plan. Those of you know I like to change my hair up a few times. Hashtag Black Girl Magic. But she said to me, Darren, she said, leave this with me. And I said, okay, I'll leave it with you. And I went on about my business, coming up with a secondary and tertiary plan about what I was going to do with my life. And a couple days later, I get up the next morning, and there was an envelope on my desk, on the kitchen table, and said, take to Mrs. Sharp. So I'm thinking, first of all, as a high school student, how is my daddy sending me something to the teacher or my counselor without me knowing? But I took it, and I took it to her, and she said, now sit down. And I said, okay, and she opened it up, and she looked at it, and she says, I'm going to tell you a little story. She said, I sent your FAFSA, I called your father at work, and I talked to him about your FAFSA form. So counselors change lives, just so you all need to know that. And he said that he would fill the FAFSA form in, and you just sign your name, because then you had to sign your name, and your parent did as well. And she said, do you know why your daddy didn't sign that form and didn't want to turn it in to have you receive it? And I said, no. She said, he didn't want you to know that last year he had raised a family and provided for you and probably making less than $10,000 that year. He didn't want you to know his pride was a part of that, his humbleness as well. And I remember that moment distinctly. So when they came to me and we started talking about how we can look at the future of Montgomery County, I kept thinking, I don't want another kid to have to explain to their parents what a FAFSA form is. I didn't want one to have to think that we're not going to go to college because I didn't have that opportunity. I didn't want a child to think that college was not in my future because my family could not afford to go and I didn't know how to navigate the pathways to college. The ACES program is a direct result of this idea that we as a county have got to do something different. I know that it changed the trajectory of my life education. I look at myself and I look at my sister, and we knew that we had been struggling, but I didn't understand what it meant for a parent to have to think about telling their child that they would not be able to go to college because they couldn't afford it, and more importantly, what that meant for my future. I didn't know the full and didn't understand the full extent of our family circumstances, but I knew for a fact that my family always wanted me to go to college. We just hadn't come up with a plan about how to be there. So when I look at the ACES students and I sit with them and I talk with them and I have workshops with them from time to time, the ability to see their stories, I just see as a mirror. Oftentimes I'm looking at them because their stories are so rich and their experiences are so rich, and all they want is the opportunity to pursue their dreams here in this country. I know that education transformed my life. I know that it transforms the life of my sister, who is now this beautiful, talented banker. I know that it has changed the trajectory of my family. So now that my son, Miles, who is now 11 and getting braces today, I don't know about you, but that just kind of gave me a little shivers because I didn't get braces until I went probably 5 years ago. But my little brown boy has a family that can provide for him to have braces. It changed the trajectory of my family, and that poverty is no longer my generational legacy. I know that, and that is what this program does for countless numbers of students. If ACES had been available in high school, I would have been a wonderful candidate for that program. And I know that we're making a difference in Montgomery County because of this program. The positive effect and impact is broad-reaching. Currently, right now, we have more than 2,300 students in our community enrolled in the ACES program, and we have expanded from serving students at 10 high schools to now 13 high schools. And these are high schools that have the greatest need in Montgomery County. Now, every so often, a few of us have to be reminded about the changing demography of this community that we so proudly live in. I tell people quite frequently, I chose to live in Montgomery County because I believed in the values and the ethos of this community. And as a result of that, you look here now that we are a county in transition. The population has increased more than 37% since the 1990 census, and our county has a bimodal distribution of our residents. They are both older and more educated, or younger and less educated. And in order to retain the robust economic and cultural landscape and to support the county's commitment to social justice, it is paramount that we foster a climate of educational access and attainment for all the members of our community. You may not see that as something that you think, oh, I want to help everybody. At the most basic sense of this is to think about what that means for you. Don't you want to live in a community where people are better educated? Because all the indices about the benefits of that are profound. Less crime, greater voter engagement, better health outcomes, all the things we know about living in educated communities. So, if you don't want to think about these two beautiful students that we heard about and met earlier, or the hundreds of those who come to Montgomery County, think about it from a truly selfish place if you need to do that. Now, I happen to know I'm in good company today, and I know that that's not your story. But what I know for sure, and I know that's the core of my being because it's the story that I have lived. Once one single person and a family attends college and completes it, it changes the dynamic for the entire family. You have disrupted that family narrative that could have been one of poverty, that could have been one of living in very difficult circumstances. And I know this because I listened to Jorge, and we heard it earlier, that he is modeling behavior because now his sister will be at Montgomery College this fall. And his life is forever changed because of the generosity of the Alkis family. We think about the generosity to the White family, all the families that are here that have done this here today. I know that this challenge is immediate for us. And we ask you to think about how you might be able to help your giving with our students. I am moved and humbled to live and work in Montgomery County. I plan to be here a long time. I want my son to be a beneficiary of this community in which we live. And as a result of that, I want us to think about the generations of our neighbors who live with us. Today is no exception for that. We have two fundraising challenges in front of us, one from the incredible Cliff and Debbie White family. If you're interested in supporting one student from an MCPS high school to Montgomery College to USG, and to be a part of that student's life from high school graduation, associate's degree graduation, to their baccalaureate degree, I know that Carol and our outstanding foundation team would relish the opportunity to talk with you today. So please make sure you find them if it moves you so. The other challenge is more immediate. Before leaving today's luncheon, please take a moment to make a gift to help make sure that I get all the money I can out of our MC Foundation board. These are truly generous people. They come to this work not because they're expecting a hand on the back. They come to it because they believe in the college and the students. And for them to come together and say, hey, we're going to put this together. Now, Darren, you go out here and ask these folks for some more money. I can do that every day of the week, including give you my own as well, because I'm a donor, and I believe deeply in what we do. There are envelopes on the table with pens. I so hope that you would take the opportunity to meet the Board of Directors challenge. There are students who will be at the back of the room to accept your envelopes, who want to help you and say thank you, help you by taking your check, and also make you feel very good by saying thank you for what you've done today. The commitment to our students' success by each and every member of the Foundation Board is inspiring, and I want to thank them. They are some of the most generous people I know. They believe deeply in this mission, and they work hard on behalf of our students. And I want to thank all of you, our faculty, our staff, our students, our donors, for making today incredible. I know that Susan Sullivan, who is our Director of Special Events, loves commencement. It is her favorite event at the college, and if you know everything that went into it, she could tell you about it. But I always tell her, this scholarship luncheon is pretty much up there for me, because I happen to think, and call me crazy, I think that this is the manifestation of love. When you are able to see the opportunity that you gave to someone else, and to talk with them, and to relish and hear their stories, and let them say thank you, wow. I don't know about you, but that is pretty darn remarkable. I hope that this day was as meaningful for you as it has been for me, and so many people who chose to be here. We are so grateful that you are a part of Montgomery College and the students we serve, and we hope that you'll take the opportunity to think about how you might stretch a little bit more to help those students and to help us make sure that Montgomery County continues to be the county that we have and live in. Thank you so much for being here today.